Hello, I am Dale Husband, and today I'd like to talk about a certain individual known across the internet as Wahid Azal. Last month, he and I were friends, and we made a podcast together in which we discussed the Baha'i faith, and I also talked briefly about my allegiance to Unitarian Universalism. A link to that video is below in the description. Well, a couple of weeks after this, Wahid was banned from the ex-Baha'i subreddit, a link to which is also below, and this was done for him fighting with another member, who was also banned, by the way, and also for making threats at the moderators of the subreddit for the way they managed it. I expressed my profound disappointment over this, since he had clearly brought this punishment on himself. His response to this was to turn completely against me, and he began to attack me in the most ridiculous terms. A link to the blog entry documenting this is also below. Not content with this slander, he further defamed my character with a second video in which he accused me of somehow being racist. A link to that video is also below, so watch that diatribe and then come back and finish this. Okay? Question. How could it have been acceptable for him to collaborate with me only a month before and then begin slamming me for views and perspectives I do not have and he cannot prove I have regarding race relations? The simple truth is that Wahid Azal has always had a psychotic, bigoted hatred of white people. Now, of course, white people in power have been responsible for a great many evil things over the past several centuries. Does that mean that all white people should be condemned for what their ancestors have done? Wahid Azal clearly thinks so. He only found me useful because of my devastating attacks against the Baha'i faith, and thus I was an outlier to him. Much like a white supremacist, like Donald Trump can find good blacks useful to them even while demonizing blacks in general, such as Barack Obama. In Wahid Azal's eyes, I was a good white person. But the moment I stopped being useful to Azal, he began to treat me instead like he has always treated white people in general, as an enemy. In addition to slandering me, he also attacked a Reddit user known as Christian X Baha'i for being a white American, and also repeatedly accused the moderators of the X Baha'i subreddit of somehow being gatekeepers working for the Baha'i leadership in some fashion. There's no evidence for that claim either, and it's certainly irrational for anyone to assume that all white people by their very nature must be racist. That in itself is a form of bigotry. So now, what would you call someone who asserts things as truth that are not really factual? His anger towards me stems solely from my refusing to be one of his few sycophants. Indeed, I am a sycophant to no one. I am always my own person. If you work with me, we must be equals. I don't blindly follow anyone. If he was thinking me in those lowly terms, then he was wrong. Many times he addressed me as a brother in our battles against the Baha'i faith. But the thing about being someone's brother is that you don't allow simple disagreements to pull you apart from that other person. Wahid Azal is actually a liar, backstabber, and bigot, and no one should ever take his insane rants seriously. Now, I have to wonder if others have also been betrayed and backstabbed like Wahid Azal just as I was. If that has happened to you, please send your story to my email address, which is also in the video description. And if I should get one or more of those stories in the next few weeks, I will publish them in a future blog entry. In any case, beware of that extremist. Trust him at your peril.